Welcome to Inspiration Radio, Growth Principles for Humanity and Progress. Join us when we share information, wisdom, and ideas how to create an extraordinary future for us all. The future is open. We together decide what will be in it. Welcome to another episode of Winspiration Radio. Last time we talked, my guest today and I, about sovereignty. What is it really, what makes a sovereign human being? And at the end of that talk, we were close to talking more about nanotechnology. And is it the technical stuff or has it to do something with humans, with humanity in progress, or even how to be more sovereign? So I wanted to have the chance to dive deeper into this, what nanotechnology makes Mark Miles so excited, and how he sees the world and how he sees the world changing through nanotechnology, and what does it mean for us, for the humanity in progress. So listen carefully and watch where you feel stressed, because there maybe is valuable information for you, because the world is changing and is changing fast. And we need to learn to adapt, and not just learn to adapt, be happy to have a brighter future. But it's all depending on us, our curiosity, and how we are happy to experience a totally different life quality. So, and now, here comes the talk. Mark Miles. Hi, Mark. It's a pleasure to meet you again. And last time it was really interesting with talking with you about sovereignty and all those what's connected with how do we get ourselves and others to the state of being your own sovereign and be the boss of your own life. And I know we could have talked longer, and especially about the topic what's so interesting also, and you love to talk it, and you have a special knowledge about what we call nanotechnology. But when you talk about nanotechnology, we talk about technical stuff or whatever, tools, material stuff, but not really in a connection, what does it really mean for the human being? And you have ideas, knowledge, and maybe even a view for the future. What will this mean for the humanity? And if you please share a little bit about that.
Okay. Wolfgang, from where we left off, you and I would understand that the nano side is definitely down at the molecular and the electron level. And even within the molecule, there's quarks. And you would know that many of the great labs, in Germany in particular, there's 2 or 3 that are fiddling with light and all the rest, are making great inroads into this nano world. And what it means is that I've got a particular diagram we will share one day, which says at that level, man is able to construct things very close to how nature does it. They can actually make molecules. They can layer material 1 atom thick in multi-layers like graphene, and make materials much stronger, much more resilient, better able to conduct electricity. They can fiddle with DNA. They can take pieces out of the DNA with CRISPR. They can add pieces in, and we know we are on the threshold of something quite large. And I just call it the nano age, the nanotech age. Okay, because it's so big and so material that it's going to affect every facet of our life. So let's look in particular. The central theme for me is we're moving into an age of abundance. We are going to be able to have all the energy, all of the food, and all of the work done so that man will be liberated and have an age of abundance. We will have time on our hands for leisure and doing things we truly believe in. But the threat of being concerned, and there's some people in particular, I would call it vulnerable women in that family life that spend a life of trauma just by saying, do I have a roof over my head? Will I get thrown out of the house? I've got 2 kids. The husband's disappeared. All of that. So we've got an age of abundance. And what does that actually mean? It means that, number one, the future work will be done with robots. At the moment, they're big, expensive robots. You will know in BMW and Mercedes and all the rest, the robots are quite big. They're those big Kukra robots that hang around. They're very expensive, millions of rands. Mm-hmm. The new robots will be robotic humanoids, fully general intelligence loaded in. So they will know how to do all functions, and they'll work 24 hours a day. They have to go occasionally to get powered up, okay? But they will know how to get there. They plug themselves in.
Just a question for understanding when we talk about robots and everything. So this kind of technology which is outside the body, the human body,
yes.
And we talk a lot about artificial intelligence, and then we are thinking a lot about machines. So is there a difference, or is it for you the same, what we call the nanotechnology, which means just smaller somehow, and the artificial intelligence?
Yeah, the nanotechnology for me is, as an engineer, we're able to form stuff at the molecular or the DNA level.
Yeah. So that means not just a robot, a technical robot.
No.
So it's more like more direction Frankenstein. We build new humans.
Yeah, and we look, the first stage, we're going to build them quite crudely. We're going to have an actuator, and we're going to build them. In future, they're going to build themselves. They will do it far better. They're going to operate on us and build themselves. So, and there's a layer of that technology that we have to understand, and we don't need to know it fully. We just got to say it's happening at an unbelievable rate, that this technology of us getting to the very, very small, and it's not just 10 times smaller. It's tens of thousands of times smaller. A light wave, a quark, is something we can't comprehend yet, but we will. Some people are comprehending it. Okay, so
yeah. So I remember that it was in the late 40s. The IBM manager or founder or whatever said the world market for computers is 5, because at that time they were so big. Yeah. So Bill Gates' vision, everybody has a computer, was already something. But if I understood it right, you believe we will understand how to create everything on the molecular level or the atomic level. I get scared as a man. Yeah. Why are men needed if women then build the next human without being pregnant?
Yeah. Look, I think we might need less humans. But maybe not. I mean, maybe our mission is to populate space, and we're going to have time to think and talk about that in a nice way. But if we've got industries that are interested in keeping us working 16 hours a day as laborers, that's a problem. Yes. It's completely opposite to us working as laborers. We're going to work as intelligent human beings, choosing what we want to do. So you and I think, are ad idem there. There's no problem of where we're going. Is it too fast? Look, we're talking about some very real dangers, and we can treat that as a subject as well, the dangers of AI. But so this base level of all the nano worlds, if we take a cathedral, it's built, those huge edifices are built from one brick. That's the quanta. The quanta of a cathedral is a brick with some mortar in between. Mm-hmm. But yet you build a cathedral. Now imagine if that is 1,000,000 times smaller, and you could still build a cathedral, but what else you can build? Mm-hmm. And then if your bricklayers are actually automated, and there are other machines putting these pieces together, but at a level when they come alive, if you put water and silicon and oxygen, it's not too difficult to get them living. They can start a battery. Inside a battery are 20 elements and 20 compounds that are actually working synergistically of moving charges and that. And if you looked at them from the outside, you'll say, this thing, I was going to use Afrikaans there, hierdie ding lewe, but this thing lives. If you've heard a rocket, one of Musk's rockets about to go up, and everything is cut off, and it's now, you've handed it across to the rocket, you can hear a whole lot of sounds, clanking, this, an escape of gas there. That rocket is living, and it's under computer control. So we'll start to see mechanical things exhibit properties as though they were living, but we know they're not. At the moment, they're not fully, but they're autonomous.
Yeah.
So then the level is of what you make. The easy ones to understand is a humanoid robot. It's going to be mechanical, but in such a way and such a material that some of us will be fooled. We within a year of fooling most people with this robot speaking to us. It will look human. Okay? We know how quickly. You've seen how quickly it's happening. It'll walk, speak, talk, gesture like a human.
Yes.
Not the
It's already difficult if you have those kind of fake videos. You think a politician is well, sometimes advertising, they misuse kind of famous person and put some voice in. It sounds like he is promoting this product, but is not.
One of the dangers. Yeah. One of the dangers. Yeah. Particularly where you see the Putin speaking to Bush or speaking to Trump, and they're not going to meet. They're not meeting, but if someone puts something in that they you can imagine, you can create quite a lot of fake perception.
Yeah.
So the beauty there, well, you are what we build in this nano world, we're going to be able to build anything, but the real magic is the software. The software is what makes it. And we understand our brain. You've done enough psychology and enough work. And some of the guys we talk to, they're understanding how the brain gets programmed. It's from early on, and whether it happens at birth or in the birth, it happens. And we bootstrap ourselves from perceptions coming through all our senses.
Yeah.
And at the moment, the senses for these training of this AI came from words, either people speaking or they came from text that we fed it. It's now finding its own text, that these AIs, and building the knowledge, because they do know the more you train it, the more intelligent they're going to become. And they will become close to human. And I don't want to say human, but close to human. We'll
you need to understand, or listener need to understand, when we talk close to human, then close to the human, how we see human today.
Correct.
Without thinking what is the development of humanity.
Correct.
Yeah. So
the beauty is we've evolved, and the very shape of our brain is we are caught with, and we caught not just with vision. Vision is 70-80%. Yeah. And the words we learn, the ears. So, but the ears, the nose, the touch, very material. And we store these learnings in a networked way. So what's exciting now for me, I come from a background where the first chips were valves. The chips now there was a fight between two types of processor. The complex instruction set, led by Motorola and IBM and other guys, and IBM was on both camps. And they are all encompassing chips. And they got faster and faster by etching silicon with more and more transistors on them. They replaced these big valves and all the rest with etched silicon that you cut. And these come out of Holland and Germany. They make the best UV etchers. But each year they double the number of transistors in this chip. And there are now trillions of transistors in a small 1 centimeter chip. It's beyond belief. Yeah. And this is not just
to think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not an atom. This is a fully working computer. Yeah. Trillions of them.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you understand some of the issues. We have to get to them with power and all the rest. They're now moving to light, where I can now get to them thing. The problem is they're hot. So these data centers are using lots of electricity and lots of heat. The newer ones come from a little lab that was connected to Cambridge called ARM. It means something, reduced machine. And they said that there are only about 7, 8, 9 instructions that do 90% or 95% of processing. Put those on that chip and make them super fast. They must happen in one clock cycle. Every time I inject a clock is a thing of add now. Those clocks, when you hear of your processor being at 30 megahertz or thing, it's so many million instructions per second. The beauty is these reduced instructions are made the designs and perfected them at a intellectual level and an academic level. And this is crucial. It's so big for you anyway, and for other people to know that these particular reduced instruction set that ARM licenses are able, they're the only things that make your cell phone work. They can work without a cooling fan, because they're only using these very fast, they are very frugal on sipping power, and therefore they need limited cooling.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're going the next step with doing what they call pipelining. They're guessing ahead of what to do, and they're getting these processes to be doing many, many things at once by looking and saying the normal, if we're talking or whatever, we need these processes. It's guessing. It's not a general purpose computer anymore. They become very intelligent. Now, the realization 10 years ago that the real world, is a graphics world. It's a real world of representing sight, smell, touch, taste. It's no more the world of adding ones and zeros. You would know, your computers, your profs told you, it's silly. It can add one and one, and that's all it can do. It just adds or subtracts. Mm-hmm. No. It stopped doing that. It was storing before, and but now these machines are able to infer, and to do it, the human brain might have more processing power than all the processors on Earth. That's the type of talk when these guys see it and now try to emulate it. They're saying, we've got a magical engine here that we would not even realize.
Let me ask you the magic thing to really understand, because I grew up with the 0 and 1, even if I'm not a programmer, but with a general idea. And I often said, the computer, whatever service website they have, it can be so blinking and complicated, but you can reduce everything to 0 and 1, the duality. And I said, everything in life, successes, you can reduce to 0 and 1. Do I understand you right when you say now 0 and 1 is doomed?
No. It's at a primal level. It's like the brace of our brain. We've actually got the reptilian brain. It's embedded in there for us. So if we understand that as well, we do need the reptilian brain that says, if I get someone coming after me, I run, or I grab, or I eat, it'll be eaten.
You stay with the 0 and 1?
Absolutely.
Just the speed is different.
That at that level, but I need to do stuff above it. I need the cortex and frontal, rear cortexes and computational areas to compute pictures, not zeros and ones.
Yeah.
Now, can you imagine, Wolfgang, to compute a picture? I've now got I walk into a room, there's 30 people, I know 28. I came from somewhere else. There's stuff cooking, there's music on, they're all conversing. I'm still a bit worried that have I got the right clothes on? You can imagine the computing. But my eyes, my ears, everything is in this room. And I remember an event where I saw 2 of them before. I'll remember the whole histories. That's nearly still impossible in the computing world. Mm-hmm. But in our world, it's elementary. You would look, some people are always tense about everything. I don't know if I can converse with this crowd. And now look, they've brought some new people that I don't know. But but we do it. That's complex for a computer. And I'll tell you how they've done it, because it's just busy this week and last week and the last month making the next richest person on earth. And that's Jensen Huang of NVIDIA. You must be following him, NVIDIA. Are you following him? NVIDIA?
Yes, also, like you said, most people didn't understand it, and he got it first, that the world of computers is different. So the artificial intelligence is making the computers now a totally different computers, totally different speed.
Now, what did he do? First of all, there was a need. When they spotted it, they knew there would be an immense need to program or to compute the real world. That's why they call it general or real world AI. He knew that it would come. There was no market for them early on. There weren't products, there weren't the software, there weren't the edge cases, but there was an edge case for gaming. So on gaming, they took the gaming into the real world, but he added two things beneath it. He was able to process light rays. So he made the real world look real. You know the first ones, the games were funny. They were little hobgoblin creatures like Super Mario and that.
Yeah. The gaming industry is always the kind of pusher, make the progress possible, because they finance the steps.
Yeah.
So far,
they knew they were coming. And what they realized is that it gave them the time to embed underneath this complex multiplayer games, and faster and better. And the games ended up looking like the real world. These guys now fighting. The good gamers said, guys, we've setting this rocket up. We've now got to, when we punch someone, the blood comes out. They embedded underneath it a physics engine. They knew they had to compute properly, and they had this 3D image of color and everything, and people interacting, and dragons, of course, creatures you haven't even dreamed of, and rockets going to Mars and all the rest, and spaceships shooting each other, real or not.
Yeah, is it like I mean, it says there was a film, The Matrix, and Keanu Reeves became very famous, and now years later they make a new film, and he should be in it, but they made a contract that they can use his image. He doesn't need to act.
Absolutely. They can now take an image, 3 or 4 views, and it'll act. They will drive it.
Yes, it looks like he is acting. He just sells the right. You can make the computer guy like me.
Now, we'll come to AI, how the actual brain or the knowledge is programmed, but it's happening in 100 places already. They're doing it from first principles. My son did one for the animals of Africa. He's got the best database of real world recognition of animals. He's not making a move, but it's not a difficult step. If you know that that's a kudu, and I've got all the views of it, I can add a part of this physics engine to make the kudu run, because I've got enough images of it running. I've got the video. But I'm just saying to you, don't believe it's just one guy who's got the program. It's happening now. It's got away. The genie is out the bottle. Okay, we'll talk more about that, because it's very necessary that how that works. I'm more interested in what's happening at the Jensen Huang level, and that's what makes it possible in the nano compute world. So one is he started getting this graphic and understanding light and all the other things, but understanding physics, and he wanted to know that when he finished working this, the nature of physics would be embedded in the system. That a guy couldn't jump 30 feet high. A person gravity will rely on him. He can jump 6 feet or 5 feet. Okay, hey, you can switch it up. Say he jumps 12. That's fine. But it had to be real, because if you see stuff that's unreal, where he kicks a ball and it goes through the back of the net, you'll see that in some of the video games, but it's not real. So the physics engine must have some reality. They've embedded that in there. How do they do that? How do they build all these images and do it? And they've taken the processor, and because of the beautiful shrinking of size, they know that they need to process images as matrices. Now, in German, you will know the word for a matrix. It's a set of numbers in 2 or 3 dimensions. 2 dimension is space and time, but 3 could be smell and color. Okay, so you can imagine the types of matrices embedded for the simplest static image. Imagine one for a moving image.
Yeah.
So there's a whole section of science of rendering and cases where if I had to do and capture the image for every fraction of a tens of thousands of a millimeter they moved, I would run out of space within 3 seconds.
Do I get it right? You make a dream of mine come true, or the technology. I go in a movie, and now we have already 3D. You have the feeling it's bigger. Then the 4D, my chair is moving.
Yep.
But the future is I smell also everything.
All of it.
Yeah.
Every sense. And even imagination. Remember what we've got, apart from the natural physics, we're busy dreaming and imagining.
Yeah.
I mean, the best footballers, imagine a new shot. Some of them never knew what to do, but the ability to do an overhead kick or a right kick, or to do this little pass where they pass, they run out, or they run over the ball. A footballer is trying to kick the ball, but every now and then he'll run over it and just tap it slightly backwards, just to fool the goalie, because it's so.
To make it one more clear for me, we use stick, or we, or science, sticks with 0 and 1 at the bottom, but between going up, now the modern technology can handle so much bigger complexity than before. Is that true?
Absolutely, but I would like to tell you, it's nowhere near as good as the brain. Nowhere near.
Yeah,
it's indescribable what we've got.
Yeah, we just like for physics, universe is unlimited, and the big, and how many trillions of galaxies.
Yeah, our brain, our one computational engine, our brain, and all of its facets of connecting to the spinal column and every facet, our toes and all the rest. That there is going to be, look, I mustn't say it's not going to happen, because it could happen in 10 years or 5 years. It could. I'm astounded daily. What I was just sticking to for one last second now is the very bottom layer. To do this, once they had the breakthrough of matrix, and it's matrix addition, multiplication, shifting, scanning, masking, they built the computer chips with what they call cores. Very important word. What NVIDIA is great for is they build and design chips with thousands of cores. They can simultaneously pass a matrix through and pass it through another matrix. And that's what our brain's doing. We are passing matrices in every known way. I'm getting a smell. All the smells come past. The next one, I've got friends. Someone I hear swears at the back of the room, and that moves through. All those matrices are coming, and we that's our awareness. They made that work with these cores in computer chips.
So complex. I have a question, because maybe it's already touching your other favorite topic, the serenity of the human. Looking at the fear of artificial intelligence, there was a kind of comic joke or whatever, and it says, do you also are afraid of the increasing artificial intelligence? And the person then said, no, I'm afraid of the increasing stupidity of humans. But is it really, or here comes another part, it's not just that we're getting more stupid or not trained because we have more machines or whatever, different cultures, but this complexity, like you just said, my brain is not really getting it. What is your idea or suggestion how we keep up, or how we remodel ourselves that we can handle it in the speed? I think evolution always needed thousands of years. Now we need thousands of minutes, so that's going fast.
I think it's what we would talk about if we are advising people of how to keep up with technology. I think the analogy is understanding that our body and all its parts are being replaced in months. We are, brain included, we are refreshing and getting rid of old cells,
You
old
say
DNA.
we need not just Elon's ship, so we need to really accept that we replace a lot of ideas or have different material AI in our body. So we kind of,
We've got to do both.
what do you call it? Hmm?
Yeah, we've got to learn the process of how to learn forever. We've got to be ever learning. And
The how to, I guess we could have already today, but we don't do it. We think we don't need it, huh?
some people do.
Mention
Some
now,
people
I
do.
don't need anything anymore.
No, no. You see, I mean, half the people I do deal with will not go further. It's already too complex. They were forced into the cell phone, but they were forced there because they knew that to communicate with their children, they needed the cell phone. Then they needed WhatsApp. That was a crisis for them of learning WhatsApp. And then you mean I've lost this number? And after a week or two, they realized they could do it. And those were breakthroughs, electronics, for many people in their 70s and 80s. And the good ones are there. You get 80 and 90-year-olds.
Yeah, Zoom with grandchildren and everything. But I also said another just recently another talk. It says also my personal experience when I turned 60, and should I start something new? Should I learn something new? It makes no sense. You're soon 80. It makes no sense anymore. And then I remembered one day, I woke up, I said, okay, when I was 20, I said, hey, when I'm 40, I made it. So we go 20 years and then we make it, and we're 40, you're a millionaire, whatever we said.
Yeah.
But it took me a while to understand from 60 to 80 is 20 years, and from 20 to 40 is 20 years. Why I judged the 20 years so different. So it's just a programming in society with 60-year-old. And if you really go with, just maybe talking about me, now turning 72, but in the Bible it says, my breath should be with you 120 years, and modern science says the body, the old, normal, human body is built for 120 to 150 years. Not talking about modern medicine, modern technology. So what if I can be 120, or I will be 120? It's 50 years from now.
Yeah.
And the moment I realize, or when I work with clients and get them, then it's just, wow, it makes so much sense to be young and 20 again and start a new life.
Yeah. Now, look what crossed my desk today. I follow a couple of science channels where the latest papers are coming out. In the last few days, the nature of how the DNA unzips. Because remember, our process is to make the new DNA and new cells. Only two things. I mean, we can talk about blood and all the rest, but two things. And it needs to do them quite efficiently. It needs to mop up the old stuff. A phage. So if you get an old cell, flabby, it'll eat it, destroy it, new cells will get made. We tend to misuse our body by dirty air, dirty water, and incorrect foods, modern foods. If we were eating primarily of vegetables and animals normally, we'd be fine. It's 150 automatic. We actually are destroying ourselves entirely in the environments we live and under the control of large food, and they want you addicted to 4 meals a day. We know we need a meal a day. We literally, unless we're exercising, if we're high performance athletes, we get 4's good. But for us, you and me, it's 1 meal really, or 2. Okay, but be that as it may. Then they looked at stuff that I just came across. And if you learn the new stuff, that's all you need. It's happening so quickly that you can jump on board now and outperform a prof within a year because he's stuck. The profs are stuck. They know it all. Oh no, that's impossible. A battery that's going to last a year. No, you're talking rubbish now. I know a battery. It lasts for 3 days. So I don't even want to go in that debate. I want to attract even the granny that's learning. I want that because I tell you, I see them.
Yeah.
They want to learn. So saying, how do I ever learn forever? You learn forever by tracking things that interest you. You don't need all of it.
But isn't it just not a matter of age? So just simply say the Pareto principle, the 20-80 rule. 20% of the grannies, they want to learn, for sure.
Correct. So it's not, I suppose it's not, but it tends to happen in age bands. It does. We tend to become tired, and often we are energy and health deprived, and that goes with age, because I've eaten badly my whole life.
Yeah.
The major autoimmune disease happened as you leave home. 18. You've had a reasonable mother looking after you with what I would call healthy food. You leave home to varsity and you move into the hot dog and hamburger thing and the quick.
So finally I can eat what I want. Yes.
And then you top up with lots of beer. 2 beers is not bad. But anyway, so what crossed my desk
and being drunk.
Show you how important this is. It found out that the belief up to now was meant that every time we divide it, because what the DNA is, you've got a double helix, it unzips the one,
it
creates one copy, and then runs and writes one, and then does a copy in reverse from the other end. So it matches it perfectly. It can't make a mistake, but they believe the dangers were at the ending in a Greek word called telomere. It's an ending mechanism. And they believe that every time you unzipped and zipped, you would lose some information. And therefore, your reproduction of cells would become worse. They've only just broken through because they now, for the first time, are watching this. They have certain levels of microscopes and lasers where they're now watching at the atomic and cell level and how they're getting built. They are astounded. It's beyond anything they could have guessed at this end of zipping and unzipping DNA strands. So and I'll send you the link because now you can jump on board there and outperform a prof of microbiology. This might only cross his desk in a year. It'll take him another year to accept that it's possible because he learned something else. He learned that telomeres are dodgy, and you could split them 1,000 times, like a battery. I can recharge 1,000 times. So all I'm telling you, if you are awakened to lifelong learning, pick up the new stuff in areas that interest you, and you will become a master, not in weeks, but in months. So whether it's numbers or advanced mathematics or whatever, the knowledge is arriving pictorially and in learning systems. And you're involved all the time of presenting learning systems people can understand. And some of them are complex. We talk about changing people's perceptions and minds. These are complex situations. You know the difficulty. But if people can jump on board and say, look at me, here I'm going to show you this. It's going to take a few iterations. And if they're open to it, they will learn something that they know. When they learn, the rest of the population has got no chance of knowing because they're not open to the learning. And they're caught in dogma.
Yes. Make a note here for me, but just I just will think about why do we need to train or talk people into lifelong learning? And I feel also a kind of resistance because learning is, for me, emotionally so attached to school, to do something what I don't want to do. I need to learn for that. So, but if I'm a healthy child, I'm curious. I'm so interested in something new. I want to be
Wolfgang,
part of it.
Demartini told us, all of us over the last year, it starts with saying no. It starts with stopping the inquisitive and the hungry for learning child. You can't do, the first year is not a problem, they learn. But I can tell you, the day they stand up, don't go near that table. You're going to pull the ashtray. No, not that. The kid is learning at a rate you cannot believe. And they will pull, listen, you need to be careful about what they pull off the tables.
Yeah.
But generally, the word niet or not, don't. And it's fitting into my paradigm that I'm telling them. We've got to teach our kids, our children, that the whole world is open to exploration.
Yeah, that's also why all the new stuff is mainly coming from yeah, let's say new, younger generation, the young lions. Or that's why I was in school. I was always wondering, why is there not one country which is there thousands of years and not the big boss on planet Earth?
Yeah.
Why it's going up and down? Because they can't change. And they're, even if the success makes you lazy or you believe that's it, and not going with the, well, every system, every organization, every morpho-organic field tries to keep themselves and not the change. That's why in the past we have slow evolution or fast revolution, what often was blood but not big change. And we need somehow a transformation now. So what is when we want to keep up with what's possible, and it will be faster and faster, like compound interest, the speed goes up also, or like you said with the ship, no? Was it Moore's law or whatever, just get some how do you see, or what is your suggestion, besides the saying of lifelong learning, how do we really adapt and be happy and curious to really keep up with all these possibilities?
Collaborate with people that are into learning, and be very careful of parents and family that saw their last 300 years of our parents came from agriculture into, for them, the biggest thing ever is they then got a job in a factory, and then became an engineer. The absolute pedestal was a doctor or an accountant. Yeah. And I tell you, in the last 3 generations, if you were going to do those, your parents sang your praises. They'd be telling all the relatives, Wolfgang's qualifying as a CA next week, would thrill them no end. But Wolfgang hates accountancy. You know, he actually wants to do biology, but it didn't even register because some of the new themes hadn't been there, and they knew no one that was successful. Yeah. You can't tell them you want to be Einstein, because that's just crazy. But so you understand, you cannot guide children. You can guide them to learn and look, and then do a process that says, Wolfgang, go and study yourself and what you like, and you will arrive at the answer of what you need to do. If you still don't know, go and travel and learn some more. No problem. You can hold body and soul together.
Well, is it just in general? There's a kind of general law, not just forcing kids, but we see it, and we force rivers. Yeah, we build walls, one direction, everything. You can't force nature. You will feel it.
But they do it in all these towns. Yes. We have canals and walkways, and you know what's happening? Every big rainfall, all the stormwater floods, everything floods. And they said, oh, it's a 50-year flood. You built too close. Well, guys, we're having stuff bigger than a 50-year flood. These are 100, 200, 1,000-year floods coming. Yeah. And half of Somerset West is on a floodplain. And I'm sure you've seen them in Germany, etc. Okay, anyway, so the lifelong learning, crucial.
Collaboration, you said, or just there is a law of they call it thermodynamics or physics, whatever.
Yes.
So in English, is that if you put a drop of cold water in a cup of hot water, you easily become hot too. So is this your suggestion? Find a group which welcomes you also, because you don't know yet, you're still cold. Find a hot group and join them, because they are on the edge, love to learn, they play with it. And if you go what they call the Death Valley, it's like if you want to learn a new language, the first day, I learned the word, so you're really excited. And then after a while, it goes somewhere deeper. I can never learn it. I can't really speak, and I don't understand. And it takes maybe 3-4 months, and then suddenly you get it.
Yeah.
So where is
And
is it
the analogy I'd like to use
find
there.
a group who is hot and allows you to stick around for 4 more months that you suddenly also feel, wow, now I get it and is so excited.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like the elastic band analogy in that
Mm-hmm.
if your thread is a vibrating thing, but more like elastic between you, you recognize your standards, your ethics, your norms, and you're interested in doing similar things, but you're also interested in exploring and learning them. And someone's tugging and pulling, but the rubber band comes back to the middle all the time. And that's the nice part of my learning this week, that we shouldn't be pushing this rubber band to make it reach its equilibrium. We should be pulling it to make it say, how far can it stretch?
Yeah.
Knowing that if I let it go, it will go back to equilibrium. It will not stretch more.
Yeah.
Unless my neighbor or my friend is pulling it. But then it tells me something. There's some interesting, and I'm watching this. Anyway, that's just a little analogy that I like. And the hot and cold dude, the thermodynamics law is exactly right.
When you say join a group, first my old brain thinking, okay, where are the people? Where do I need to go or drive to sit with them? But I guess today it's so many more possibilities online, groups where you just can first listen and get some. You have some ideas? You talk more about X, where groups very easy can join and just glimpse of what's happening.
Our platform for the next 3-4 years, our platform will be X. The rate that they're introducing new material, and now with embedding the video, you cannot believe the quality of the video and the manipulation of video and showing stuff. And it's going to be the medium of the future for the next 5 years, the leading medium, lowest cost, and within a month or two, we will have New York and California money systems online there. They've got 50, 60, 100 already online. They want the two biggies, and they will launch financial transactions on X real time, and you will have both money, fiat money, and the full suite of crypto. So that will nearly complete the ecosystem. And behind it, they've got AI and Grok and all the rest. And they are now among the fastest growing of the AI body of knowledge, because they've got more cars and more people on Twitter than anyone else. So they're beating them by 5 to 10 to 1. And everyone agrees it's the volume of data and quality. But let's say the quality they're getting is real world. They've got eyes focused on roads and people, and they've got all the verbal and now video stuff on X as well. But you know what? I'm saying it's going to happen. We can nicely watch and agree ourselves that it's happening. Okay.
Yeah, it will happen for sure. The question is the time, or who is first, or whatever. Like Buffett once said, we knew around 1910 or so that cars will be the future, but I wouldn't have bet on a car company. I would have gone short on horses, because you never know which comes through then. But we can be really sure that this change will come.
And it's short. They'll be electric in 5 to 10 years. 90% will be electric. It's common sense. And we'll get 90% of our energy from the sun. That's our solar power in the sky. And there's enough for us to actually make us absolutely independent and wealthy. What's coming?
This is another question. Who is then getting the money? You can still keep the people poor like in the past, and some dictators collect the money, some government takes some money or punish you. I even heard in South Africa they were thinking about charging you because not using the electricity, because you have...
No, they charge you availability. Even when you switch and cut off your rates or an electricity amount, and they're saying it's for others that haven't got it. Let me tell you, knowledge is gonna make us free. And if you could keep us away from speaking and learning and communication that is not fake, it'll set us free. And I think we were on the path to setting us free. I feel so good about it, that the knowledge and I'm starting to see now that if you remove bad actors, and it's literally 1 or 2% that are bad actors, and on these platforms, and they are evil. They are absolutely evil. They call it FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That's all they know how to do, and they're very sharp.
Yeah.
They're propagating their own interests in medicine and in old cars and tobacco. The tobacco one is still carrying on. Remember, in China and India and the Far East, the tobacco is still a big story, and they're telling you that it's not really a problem.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll tell you is that it clogs up the hospitals. So don't tell me tobacco is not a problem, because I mean, I used to smoke. It's actually a pleasurable hobby until you get sick. So, and the thing is, it's costing hobby, and sugar now is clogging in the hospitals. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jeannie is back from the UK, and to say the queues and people, because she looks after some older people, and when she tries to get them in, the people in there are looking for their diabetes medication. So and that's a self-inflicted autoimmune disease. And we can debate there. I'm not going to go there because the stuff is rushing at us for the knowledge of how we can mistreat our body with manufactured food is now overwhelming. I'm not even going to blow that trumpet. It's going to happen. And those that don't want to listen must die at 70 and in a hospital. So I want to die at 150.
Old industry or old guys need to die before the new land can really flourish.
Yeah. I wanted to
give us a short glimpse of the future platform. I know you're having ideas to support people, especially executives, because that's an also ripple effect in the companies. How to really understand what personal sovereignty is, and how they can keep up with all these changes. So what is in the pipeline?
I think we've got some nice basics that we can all agree on. That your lifestyle, you need to have a lifestyle and a vision, and part of that lifestyle is having good sleep, and and understanding how to meditate, so you actually are stilling the brain and letting it wash. The only way to clear build-up of toxins in the brain is to sleep.
Yeah,
we can meditate, and it also puts us into that same samadhi. It's a beautiful effect of rushing up the spinal column and washing the brain. The brain has got no glands, where every other part of the body has got things. The brain has got no glands to clean itself. Mm-hmm. And it relies on, first of all, having no thoughts, no mind. So we know that, no mind situation. I'm totally in the present. The brain, when it's not working and firing, shrinks by up to 10%. It takes the pressure off, which forces the fluid up the brainstem. And automatically, it moves across the brain, washing out toxins. And then you pick them up in glands around the eyes, the nose, all the cavities, and below you. And we know when we wake up, you've got a head clearing issue. You know that. So all I'm saying is, once you do all of that, and you now on the meditation, decide, what am I going to do? And if you follow something, and that's why I said, like the Buddha one of the ennobling truths, I'll perform in a way called shul. It's the middle way. Shul is the same as the school, and it's saying I will follow this non-excesses either side, but I will use the ennobling truths of saying, what is bugging me? What I've now got this magical brain and the stuff. Well, you know what's bugging me? I keep making the same mistake. I nearly have an accident every morning I go to work. But it's because I'm not focused. I need to sort that out. So I think about it. Why am I doing it? Well, I'm thinking about this and I must actually concentrate on the driving.
I guess it's a topic for another episode.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good.
It's interesting just to go there. That's very important, I think.
But let me say then, Brett, you will find a lifestyle that'll create a life of plenty for us. We'll also be doing the stuff we like doing, and we'll do it well. We naturally are programmed to perform, and whether it's going out to hunt an animal or harvest a crop or to swim there or to do something, to teach our children tennis. If we like doing it, we will do it very well, and we'll do it all day.
Yes, yes. And if we allow ourselves, we will also love to be better at it. Like if I play Mario, I want to have more lives. So
absolutely
be better in this. Okay, this is all coming. We can totally agree. I wrote a book, The Best Is Yet to Come. So
I agree with you. The best is yet to come.
But to really decide the lifestyle you want, you need to be free to really dare to decide what you want, and really clear and sovereign enough to make your own decisions. So
and you don't need to make them. The thinking process will make them for you if you're open to it. So you think about where would I like to be? You will program your new life into it.
Yeah, you can program it, but
as DeMartini says, the norm will happen for you. Don't push it. Just open your mind to it.
The meditation is important also to really
start the process.
Clear what is my true self.
Correct.
I want to be programmed and where not. So I'm the victim, and where is it supporting me? So otherwise you're not the sovereign if it's not supporting you. And so it's just being clear to be the sovereign, and then use all the technology. Just another glimpse for the future. There might be another episode. If all the technology is doing the work, and we can even reproduce with nanotechnology, what is the real, let's call it, task for humanity, for the humans?
Look, Musk has applied his mind to this since he was 12, 13 years old. He's saying that the biggest danger humanity has, and he's somehow strapped to saving humanity. Yeah. He's saying the only necking we've got, it's the great necking happens when a meteor strikes us or similar, or someone lets off an atomic bomb. He believes that civilizations last 5, 6, 7,000, 10,000 years, or like dinosaurs, but man, we're on about the 5th iteration of man. Homo this, Homo that. Now we've got Homo sapiens. We literally at 11:30 right now with Homo sapiens. He says you've got to get multiplanetary. If we can get one population on Mars, we have a chance to be going to go galactically, and we can take the knowledge we've got on Mars, even if we have to live semi-underground, and take the resources there, make the oxygen, make the rocket fuel. It's all there. We just got to change it slightly, and we're now multiplanetary.
So, like in former times when humanity started in Africa, okay, now we need to go to Asia or America or whatever. Okay, now the planet is full, we go somewhere else, whatever the reason is. But this for me is still kind of survival technique.
So that's the base of the brain. That's the amygdala.
Maybe robots go to Mars and reproduce, and so-called humans. But I mean, but really, what we call humanity, what is really different between machines and what we call humans, the mental or the spiritual side, and where do we need, in kind of awareness or consciousness, develop? What is our role really in the future?
We might not be able to ever make brains. We might be able to make all of the other parts. We might not be able to make the miracle of the brain. And it might be that and the beauty is, if we understand that most of our processes, and we'll talk about certain species of abalone and others that don't age, they're embedded in them, the DNA and the way they unzip them and make them, they can live forever, given the correct housing. So we might find, and we know that we can take a piece of a brain and grow it in a petri dish. We can grow another one. So it's not impossible that we can't grow brains. How we can get the reptilian or the amygdala and the different parts of the cortex together and work in 2 hemispheres, those are miracles for me. So I would not like man loose on those yet, because I can tell you it looks impossible.
Yeah.
So I would believe that if you're going to have a robot, we could put our brain in there and keep that conscious going, and we could think. And because I tell you, with a synapse drives the toe to wiggle or the finger. So that's not, they're doing that now. Musk is doing that with his implant. He's making paraplegics move those by just thinking about it. But so I'm cautious about the word humanity. We need to learn how it is, and maybe it's just one brain that we grow, and that becomes humanity. It sits somewhere in, and that's what's helping us. I mean, listen. You could think of the miracle that we made these things autonomous in this form, and then we get a tiny lemur which is 2 inches long, and it's got all of it: the heart, the lungs, everything. Mm. So it's not as though, I mean, we're a big form factor because we needed to be to run away from a lion. If we were any smaller, the pygmies are eaten out. They're gone.
Yeah. Well, I still love to use the word humanity, and even here the subtitle of Inspiration Radio episodes is For Humanity and Progress. What I want to say with that is, don't be afraid. It's not the end. It's all the historical. We are still in progress. And to make it simple, what I see is, when we talked about what we did in the past, it was just survival. Where do I get food and everything, or shelter? And we have everything really on planet Earth. There's no lack of. We have a stupid distribution system at the moment, but everything is there. And like you said, in 10 years, we get also the energy. Everything is there. So humans, like I had the interview with Mohamed Yunus, and he said, it's not for humans that we go out every day for work to finance our food. And this will be, with the modern technology, over. We don't need to do that anymore. Correct. But on the other hand, the focus is more on curiosity and creativity. So it's really developing our brains for new stuff, for next level, higher consciousness, if you like, or whatever. And that's what I understood also is what you're going for with the idea of let's call it sovereign platform or whatever, communities, create a bigger brain and this, and so much more creativity.
Well, first of all, stay well. First of all, stay healthy in brain and body, so that you're able to think clearly and decide where you want to go, and live well into your current age healthily, and then decide how it moves from there. I think it'll be revealed quite quickly. Yeah, but and definitely stopping modern slavery. Modern slavery is evil, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah,
keeping you restricted with property and jobs, and then literally
people
threatening you.
Yeah. As I said, I wrote a book. It says the best is yet to come. But when I wrote it and talked about the best, it's still somehow limiting what I could think is the best. And today I say we will experience in this century a situation of wealth and well-being we even can't imagine yet.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
there's a very nice guy called Tony Seba, a visionary futurist. And Tony will show you the cost curves. And there's a particular equation that is like Moore's law, is that on a declining cost curve, the faster it goes, the faster it goes. It's coming down just on the materials, but it's also coming down because you find new applications for it. So you're producing more, and it becomes cheaper and cheaper. And in fact, it moves to zero. He shows you that within 10 years, power, electricity is zero.
Yeah.
And you don't need then oil. So those sheikhs and stuff better wake up, because they've got another issue. They're already moving. Yeah.
Mark, thank you for sharing so many insights and giving so much hope and curiosity for the future. And I'm looking forward, because we had at least 2 topics for other episodes, to dive deeper into this. For today, thank you very much.
And thank you for the opportunity. Okay, look forward to seeing it again.
Yes. Have a wonderful future.
And have a wonderful weekend.